Welcome to Punky's World. This is the Hall of Fame Class of 2024 review. Okay. It started out with Paul Heyman. I figured he'd be last, because he's the big draw, for this year. And he wasn't. He was first. Roman Reigns inducted him. He was very much out of character. It was kind of cool to see, because even when he said, "Acknowledge me," you could see him kind of chuckling. So it was really funny. On the way down to the ring, and Roman Reigns even said his own real name, Joe. His name is Lete, Joe. Anoa'i. And he actually used Joe when talking about Paul. On his way down, Paul Heyman stopped. There were a few ECW guys there. He hugged Bubba Ray, Rob Van Dam, and Tommy Dreamer. I was so glad to see Tommy there. I personally think Tommy should have inducted him, but that's just my opinion. WWE would not have had it that way. But anyway. He talked about his career, and he talked about he very emotionally talked to his children, Jacob and Azalea, which, by the way, I think is a gorgeous name, who look like they're in their teens. After his divorce, for those of you who don't know, Paul Heyman raised his children as a single father. In fact, he left the business for a while just to raise his kids. And he was saying how, I don't know how to talk about Paul, I don't know how to talk about me as a person. And I remember Roddy Piper saying that. So I can talk about Roddy or whatever, and talk about getting this or that over, but how do I ever talk about me? And he learned it over time, but it was hard, And so Paul at the end, because everybody was chanting EC Dub, EC Dub, he had this banged up box next to him, and I knew it had something to do with ECW. And he took out the black trench coat, the headset, and the ball cap, put them on, and went into ECW Paul Heyman, which was so much fun. At the end, when he left the stage, after he told his children what he wanted them to do in life, he walked down to his children and he passed the torch. He handed the trench coat to his son and the cap to his daughter, as if he was passing, the torch. So it was really cool. It was really emotional. The next inductee was Bull Nakano. She was inducted by Medusa, a.k.a. Alundra Blaze. Bull Nakano is the most classy woman Um, at first, I thought she might be pregnant. She wasn't pregnant. She's 56 years old. She's a little beyond pregnant. Um, but she had some trouble getting up the steps. She probably has either knee or hip issues from years of pounding on them. She said she wrestled with all her heart. She said that if, because a lot of Japanese believe in like reincarnation and stuff, she said if she came back, she would want to be Bull Nakano again. um, she said it was hard not speaking English, but there were a few good people here who helped me check into a hotel, get transportation, you know, things that were hard for her because she didn't speak enough English to get transportation or to check into a hotel successfully. So there were people, she didn't name any names, but there were people evidently in the World Wrestling Federation who helped her with that. Great lady, so classy, so beautiful. And she did do sort of a face paint. She wore her hair up and curly, um, like in a regular hairstyle. And then she did a blue lipstick with blue lines coming off of it. She was stunning. Medusa, on the other hand, was old. Holy crap. I almost didn't recognize her. That's not a slam on her. That was just my initial thing was, holy crap, you know? But Medusa's 61 years old. Not that that's old, but Lord knows that's not old, considering I'm almost 50, so. Oh. But she just looked it, you know? Like I said, no offense intended. It was just an observation. The next inductee was Muhammad Ali. The Undertaker inducted him. And as always, The Undertaker was his classy, incredible self. Mark. Accepting for him was his widow, Lonnie Ali. I thought maybe it would be his daughter, but it wasn't. She said she's been in love with him since she was 6 years old. So they've known each other a long time. She talked about how back in the day, 1998 I think it was, The Rock had come up to them at a WWF event and said, I used the People's Champ out of respect. Is it okay that I do that? And Muhammad Ali gave him the title and told him he was going to pass on the People's Championship. So there was a belt that was created for The Rock that she presented to him called the People's Championship. And it was beautiful. And he is a class act. So, next up was the U.S. Express, Barry Windham and Mike Rotunda. The inductors were Taylor and Micah Rotunda. Taylor was known as Bo Dallas in WWE. They remembered Windham Rotunda, aka Bray Wyatt. And all the Fireflies, that's Bray Wyatt's fans, had their phone lights, were, doing this number. And they said, Mike Rotunda and Barry Windham, or as we knew them, Dad and Uncle Barry. So they came out. They talked about their team and how Mike met Barry's sister. And they got married 7 months later. They've been married 40 years. They then talked about Bray Wyatt, Wyndham Rotunda again. And they turned on their phone lights and asked everybody to turn on theirs and wave. So. That was a very emotional induction. I'm not sure how well Barry's feeling. First of all, he was quite slow. He's lost height and gained weight. Quite a bit of height. And he was a little bit slow on the way to the ring and up the steps. He didn't talk much. Mike did pretty much all the talking. I know Barry had that massive heart attack. So I don't know if it's affected him still. I think that family needs to be checked for some kind of genetic heart problem. Anyway, the next induction was Thunderbolt Patterson. And he was inducted by the New Day with Big E. They talked about how Thunderbolt Patterson and his work for equality for all races in wrestling. He was very much he was a pioneer, but he was also what's the word? Make sure my light is still on over here. Okay. An activist in a way, and he was very much for the civil rights, equality, and they wouldn't be where they are without him and others like him. Without Thunderbolt Patterson pushing for, equal pay for African American wrestlers, equality for African American people, there would be a New Day. There wouldn't be a Booker T. And Booker T talked about that in the video package. And, and they talked about how Dusty Rhodes wrestled Thunderbolt and how honored he was to wrestle him. And it's true. Dusty didn't care what color you were. Dusty was raised, and if you read his book, you know this, to not judge by the color of someone's skin. In fact, he was raised in Austin, Texas, in the city, in a diverse neighborhood with friends of all races, creeds, and colors. And his parents wouldn't have had it any other way. And like I said, he talked about that in his book. His name was Claude Thunderbolt Patterson. He is an ordained minister. He started his acceptance with a prayer, which I thought was amazing. things were so bad, and they talked about this in the package, race-wise. He couldn't eat in the cities he just main evented. Whites only, no coloreds. Because he wrestled for the NWA, he wrestled down south a lot. So he couldn't use the same bathrooms. He couldn't use the same, I'm going to say bubblers, but drinking fountains. We call them a bubbler. I think they got that name because the water kind of bubbles up. So they got that nickname here. Or eat at the same restaurants, and if they did, they had to eat in a colored-only section. It was terrible. And he was one of the people that made a difference. Why should it matter what color you are? Where you can eat? His handler spoke because he's in his 80s and he's in a wheelchair now. He can stand with a cane for a little bit, but and his handler quoted Muhammad Ali: "Hating people for the color of their skin is wrong. No matter what color the hater is, it's still wrong." And I love that. Whether you're black or white and you hate the other race, it's still wrong. Thunderbolt, like I said, he said a prayer at the beginning. He's a devout Christian. He's an ordained minister. And he said, it's time to stop playing the race card and time to treat people the way we want to be treated. And he asked that the Lord renew us all spiritually, which I thought was beautiful. Leah Maivia was the next inductee. The inductor was her grandson, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. In the video package, they showed a clip of him singing to her at her grave. Which was beautiful. He not only inducted her, he accepted in her memory. His mother was there. He had her stand up, Atta. I think Atta should go in. Youngest female manager, all of that. Evidently, she kept on Peter Maivia's dream, Leah did, to make his promotion in Hawaii big. And all the promoters on the mainland would send guys to her, so she had all the top guys. She had big cards like in the Heat of the Night that were just crazy good. And I also want to mention, with a little asterisk next to this, Dusty Rhodes was mentioned multiple times. Just fluff that under there. I am already running out of, wow. So, excuse me. Like I said, I got some genealogy for us to do tomorrow. Excuse me. Thank you so much for joining me. Overall, I thought it was a really good ceremony. It was a very emotional ceremony. More so than I expected. Thank you. God bless you. I will see you next time. Please subscribe to both channels and hit those bells. We have goals: 500 on the main channel and 200 on this channel by Memorial Day. Bye, guys.